Keep your overall goal in mind and don't get too lost in the data or bogged down in evaluating every open rate or click-through rate. And this is timely advice given a recent announcement from Apple regarding their new iOS 15 software update. Now, in this update, Apple has let us know that there will be some privacy enhancements as they pertain to email and the data that is shared from email inbox user to email service provider. With this update just around the corner, there's been a lot of speculation around what it means and what happens from here. Now, we wanted to get the opinions of our guests to see how and what they're thinking about it. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on the software update and the implications of it as it pertains to email analytics. There's a lot kind of going around, a lot of speculation, a lot of conjecture, but I'm just curious to know if you're thinking about it and what you're thinking about it.
For sure. I think there are potentially huge impacts there. And so for me, on my focus area, which is email marketing performance, I think there are two things that come to mind. The first is something that I've said a couple of times in this interview, but it's a really great time for us to focus our measurement on our ultimate goal. So now with these changes, open rates, there's lots of things that could happen to them, but I think we could label them as unreliable and maybe not as a great of a metric, something that we want to rely on as much as we have in the past. And so if your organization is somewhere that doesn't have the open as the end of the journey, it's not the ultimate goal for someone just to open your message, you want them to do something else, now's an opportunity for you to start looking at collecting that data and understanding the data further down in the customer experience in the journey. So that's one opportunity that you can use to maybe expand your perspective on your email analytics as this one metric. The open rates may become less reliable. There are others, and we spoke about some others earlier today, that you can start to collect and compare your subscribers and your campaigns. And then the other opportunity that I'm seeing for the work that I do in email performance is first-party data. So there's a lot of opportunity to collect first-party data. And if people are not familiar, first-party data is information that you collect directly from your subscribers with their consent. So it's information that you ask them, their name perhaps, a phone number, all sorts of different information, what types of topics they're interested in. You can collect, you can ask through forms and surveys, all sorts of things. And people willingly give over this information to your organization with the hopes of getting a better experience. And I think a comprehensive first-party data strategy can help you provide personalized content. And people talk a lot about that in the email marketing world, but there's also ways that you can begin to analyze that first-party data to look at, for example, the distribution of people's preferences on your lists, or, where are people opting in from on your list? What webinars are they the most interested in? What are people getting most excited about in what you're sending them? And then you can use that first-party data to help you quantify and understand the subscriber's process, so how they move through all the fabulous content that you're sending, and use that information also to improve your program and hopefully help more and more people achieve that ultimate goal that you've set out for your program.
I mean, obviously, it's big news that Apple dropped on us, a month or two ago back at their World Conference, and kind of marketers trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Obviously, as email marketers, it's obviously important for us to kind of see what is going on and where things are going to move. And I think, first off, I think people need to take a step back, okay? I think there's a lot of hysteria going around, like all this doom and gloom, and it's not necessarily all bad. So one of the first things I would do is as any marketer, whether you're a marketer, a small business owner watching this, maybe you're just a new ActiveCampaign user, take a deep breath, okay? It's not the end of the world. That's step one. Step two is start to really know your audience, okay? One of the really cool features of ActiveCampaign will show you in that contact trends that I was talking about under the reports section is they'll actually show your email client trends. Yes, okay, we all know iPhone is a big deal, okay? But ActiveCampaign, we have people from all over the world using this platform. So it might not be as impactful to people overseas as it might be for people like us here in North America, where we know that iPhone is typically the predominant phone of choice. With that being said, there's Google, Android. I mean, I'm one of the few, but I use an Android. Don't judge. there's a lot of people that still use Android. So it's important to understand that this does not affect people who use Android. In fact, it doesn't even affect people who are even using like the Gmail app or a different app on iOS 15 that that they have installed in their app. So it's like for like really the people who have like the Mail app that are going to be in play here once this iOS 15 gets rolled out. There's a lot of moving pieces. We don't know what or when it's gonna be. Like there's been, some bloggers and people who have got early access that, Apple has made it their mission to kind of like make privacy one of the forefronts in their new operating systems that they're launching out to their user base, which is respectful. But for us as marketers, an ActiveCampaign, this obviously throws us for a bit of a curveball. So some of the things that we can be doing is, number one, is knowing, as I was alluding to before, what are your users using? Like maybe you have a large, like I started looking through all of our clients, like some of our bigger client accounts. I'm like, okay, I need to start seeing what are their email client trends. And I was surprised to see that the majority of them are actually using Gmail as like their predominant email client. So that was a bit of a surprise for me personally. I think it's important, number one, to do a list clean now, like know who your engaged contacts are, set those baselines. So set the baselines now. Know what your open rates are generally across your different subsets or your different segments and your different lists so that you have something to compare to, so that when this does get rolled out in September, October, November, who the heck knows, you have something that you can actually work with and actually make sense. If you go into this blind, then you might get that right hook out of nowhere that you don't see coming. But it is important that you take steps now just to be prepared. And one of the biggest things I would say, as I just alluded to, set those baselines so that you know kind of what you're working with and how big of an impact this might have moving forward.
We had mentioned kind of like not getting lost in the opens and the click-throughs. As far as like where you actually can go if those were to get removed in a significantly impactful way, what would be the analytics that you would start to look for? What would kind of be your plan to work around that?
I mean, UTM tracking is a good one for like some of the more advanced users with Google Analytics, looking at your landing pages, looking at the bottom line, like how many people are actually making it to that sales page, like how many people are actually going to your website, how many people are actually taking action. Because at the end of the day, an email is meant, for the most part, if it's not just informative, for people to take action to do something. I mean, that's how we use email with ActiveCampaign or any email system, probably 95% of the time. Like we want to get that click. We want to see what happens. We're trying to push and get them to take action. And typically that action is not like, email is just the vehicle. Like usually there's that whole other ecosystem that you need to be focusing on. So don't get too caught up on the open rates and the click-through rates. Look at what the main objective is, and then you can definitely get a clear picture as far as what's going on from a marketing standpoint.
One, I'm a little bit frustrated at it that Apple's taking this stance because it's big tech making that decision. However, I'm also incredibly happy about it. And the reason why I'm incredibly happy about it is for far too long, marketers have relied too much on open rate. And they don't really understand the back end of what an open, how it works, where it's coming from, et cetera. So the plus for us as a company, one of the things that we do analyze is open data. But as I mentioned far earlier on, we've always pushed down opens coming from mobile devices. Now, I do realize that if you're using a Mac and you're using Apple's native mail app, you're going to start potentially losing signal from there. So that's the one bad area that I see as a challenge for marketers. But the signal coming from mobile devices is not a very valuable signal. It's to me, you can't even get signal through the noise from those from iOS devices when it comes to the mobile. Two, people have to opt in. So when you update your phone, there's going to be people that said no. I don't really care about my privacy. How many people from Facebook just were like, no, just do what you were. Keep doing what you were doing.
Right.
So it's not all doom and gloom. For us as a company, we're actually viewing it as a huge positive because we've always felt that open signal was junk. And so therefore, Apple's making the decision for us just to throw out the junk. Two, I think marketers are going to have to start relying on a click. Clicks are not going away with this. Now, a whole nother discussion of Apple allowing you to do like burner email addresses with this update. But if somebody's truly engaged or values a brand, I don't think people have a problem giving you their real email address. But I think what marketers need to start really thinking about is, how do I get real engagement signals? How do I get people to click through? Am I actually creating valuable content for them? We all love to talk about, we're getting valuable content for everybody. But the simple fact is, your content is for some of your audience, and some of it is just, it's not for them. So I think creating more engaging content, more ways for people to engage with your brand and get to your website so that you can get a truly more valuable signal. None of that is going away with this announcement.
Well, there you have it. Prepare now, and you'll be better equipped to deal with whatever comes along with this update in the future. Know who your engaged contacts are by using a combination of automation, lead scoring, site tracking, and email data. UTM parameters can be great to include in your URLs so that you can attribute website page visitors to particular sources, like your email campaigns. Including forms or surveys within your emails to learn more about your audience's preferences, their interests, and their demographics. And finally, engagement tracking. Who are your engaged contacts, and who are your unengaged contacts? As we've talked about, segmenting by engagement is a phenomenal way to keep your list full of engaged contacts, to improve your deliverability and your sending reputation, and to understand which messages resonate with your audience the most. Hi, thank you for watching. If you are enjoying Growth Decoded, you can find a link in the description to sign up and join the Grow team. You'll get exclusive content and opportunities that have to do with the show. You can also hit the subscribe button for ActiveCampaign's YouTube channel somewhere down here, and you will never miss an update from us.